Yes, I'm going to tell him. His name is Oliver. I'm David, and this is Grill Brush, and Oliver is a resource guarder. This is one of the things he likes to resource guard. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can stop a dog from feeling the need to resource guard. Now, before I get into actually demonstrating a little bit of information, resource guarding is actually ironically not considered an aggressive behavior, because once the resource is removed, the dog's behavior usually completely changes. Dogs can resource people, places, things. Often they're high value items like food or bones or things along those lines. I was just telling the clients I actually worked with a guard dog who guards his kennel. Can't even approach his kennel if he's in there. He wants to take your head off. Now, if I was on a plane and in the middle of the Pacific, the plane went down, and me and one other person were plane wrecked onto an island, and I found a chicken, and I'm eating the eggs, and suddenly I know, and he's got his own camp, and I notice the guy starts hanging around my chicken. He's coveting my chicken. He's going to eventually try to take my resource, but I need that resource. I know I'm going to tell him that too. I need that resource to survive. Dogs in the wild need to protect the resources. If he kills a rabbit and he's eating it and a wolf comes, the wolf's going to try to take that food, and he's going to try to, probably wouldn't protect it over a wolf, but he would give it a fair fight because he needs that food. Now, when a dog resource guards, it has possession of something, and usually their head is down. It's oriented like this, and usually if you come near it, the more that you physically, forcibly take something away from a dog that's resource guards, the worse it will get, because you're validating their concern that you're here to take my stuff. So the whole premise with this concept is to teach the dog, and I'm not giving him a treat, but dogs can't sniff and bark at the same time. I want you to be able to hear me. Dogs, what we want the dog to understand is when a human approaches you, they're not going to take your stuff. Matter of fact, they're going to make your situation better. So what I do here, I'll give you that one, because you stop barking. I'm going to put that down. This is something he almost always gets into. And it takes a little bit of time for them to get into it, and this is not hard to explain and understand why, because there's a smell of food on this thing. Sorry, I'm dropping it on your floor.
That's okay.
And so basically, and he's kind of getting all the crumbs that have fallen off it. Now, typically when you have a dog that resource guards, the closer you get towards the object, the more the dog's going to resource guard. I'm hoping that he will here just for demonstration purposes. If he doesn't, it's no big deal. So if I approach, usually what a dog will do is they'll kind of start kind of freezing, and they'll go really slow. Now, dogs are also very cognizant of what is and is not allowed. If I reach for something and I just go like that and pick it up, I'm very confident in my movement. If I go like this, the dog's like, oh, he's not very confident. I'm going to give him a little nip to try to get him to back off. And I've seen people that actually, dogs don't resource guard. They just are still hesitant approaching because the dog growled at them once when they try to take something and they think it's resource guarding. I'm going to give the guardians the benefit of the doubt and assume that this is resource guarding. Yes, you can go ahead and go at it. We'd like you to actually guard that resource if possible. So if I go to reach for it, the dog will typically bite anybody that tries to take it. So he's clearly not resource guarding it at this point. And that can happen where it takes a certain period of time for him to get into it. But the way to fix it is the same. And I'm just going to pantomime since he doesn't seem to be wanting to do it. Of course, they say in Hollywood, which we're not far away from, well, we're in Culver. There's a bunch of stuff filmed in Culver. But you never want to work with kids or dogs because they don't cooperate. So basically, let's say he's in a resource guarding mode. And what I would do is I would start approaching him. We're going to find out, first of all, what distance. Let's say right now I'm about 10 feet away. Let's say when I get to this distance, he's kind of looking, and all of a sudden he freezes and gets stiff. That's his warning. If I come closer, he's going to start barking, lunging, and bite me. And they'll bite anybody if they're in a resource guarding, whether you're their guardian or not. So let's say that I'm at 10 feet and he freezes. Well, then I'd stop and I'd move away. And then I'd come back and I would stop at 11 feet and throw a high-value training treat, something that's meat-based, that has a strong smell, and then I turn and walk away. And then I approach again. And he gets the treat, and I walk away. So what I'm doing is I'm demonstrating through my actions that when you have a resource, I'm not going to take your resource, I'm going to make your situation better. So now, I did it specifically in this place. I won't be able to demonstrate because of the camera, but basically this is actually a really nicely spaced out house for Los Angeles. I have an alley behind the couch that I can approach. I can approach from there. I can approach from this side of the table and from the camera to here. So when you have a dog that's resource guarding, you want to approach from all sorts of different angles. But if it's 10 feet, we're going to stop at 11 feet consistently no matter which direction we approach from. And we're going to offer him that treat. and then walk away, and then I walk around the house, and I walk away this way and stop at 10 feet over there and throw the treat. And I keep on doing this until the dog pretty much is no longer getting stiff or holding their breath or freezing when I'm approaching. Then if I'm doing this 11 feet, then I try, after the dog seems pretty relaxed, then I go to 10 feet. And then I do repeat the process. Then 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And you get all the way to the point where you're right there. Now, something else that I taught the guardians what to do is to, well, they've already done this, but it's really important you teach your dog to drop. Now, the way to teach the drop, this little bonus dog training tip for this one, is when the dog has possession of something in its mouth. That's when we use the drop. Leave it is before the dog has possession of it. The guardians are a little bit confused about those two. So if he has something in his mouth, what I want to do is approach him, and when he has something in his mouth, this should be what we call a low value item. These are items that he's allowed to have at any point in time. I'll give you one for a crash. So let's say he's got a ball or a bone or something like that, but he isn't guarded. I come up to him, and I hold the treat up to his nose like this. He'll try to take the object with the treat with the object in his mouth. I just wait. As soon as he drops it, then I pop it in his mouth and I say the word drop, and I don't pick the item up. So what I'm doing is I'm teaching him that, again, it's another way for me to earn a little bit of trust for him, is if you drop things, I'm going to pay you and reward you, and I'm not going to take your stuff. Now, this is, again, stuff he's not resource guarding, so he doesn't feel that need or that urgency. And I was telling the guardians as a behaviorist, what I try to do is help the dog put in a situation the easiest version of a behavior or something it failed at, and then recreate the situation. Yeah, you're doing so good. In the easiest version, step by step. We stay on step 1, and I tell the dog, this is what I want you to do. We help practice it until the dog consistently does what I want it to do for step 1. Then I go to step 2 of the process, 3. Let's say there's 12 steps of the process. Once the dog has done each individual step the way that I want, then I would put all the steps together in the easiest version possible. And when the dog's successful, then gradually start adding in more and more difficulty. So clearly we don't have a resource guarding at this point. I'm not saying that he's not a resource guarder. Like I said, a lot of times dogs don't cooperate when we do these videos. There's a book called Mine, M-I-N-E with an exclamation point. It's by a famous dog behaviorist named Gene Donaldson. This is where I got the technique sit. That's all passive training. Something different. But this is where I got the technique, and I'm giving you a very boiled down version of it in this video. But basically all it is you're going to gradually work your way up closer and closer until you can come right up to where the dog is, and you've established a good drop. You say drop, the dog's like, sure, I'll drop it. You've built up my trust. And then we give them a treat. If I'm really worried that he might take it, when he drops it, I might go like that, throw the treat over there, then pick up the item. But when you pick it up, I don't want to snatch it. Snatching implies that it's not mine, and I have to trick the dog to take it. If it's mine, I can pick it up very casually. So I'm not going to have to move very quickly. Is it still filming? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So when your dog has items, you're watching TV, that's when you want to practice the drop technique with the low value items. And you want to do that at the same time you're doing this. He wants you again. If I have a weird reminder, just ignore it. All right, well, this is Oliver, and these are some tips and tricks that you can use if you have a dog that likes to resource guard.